The following Smark Out Moment Smack Talk podcast is a Pay-Per-Viewpoint episode, and it is scheduled for the AEW Fyter Fest event that just went down a few minutes ago, so we will be breaking down everything that we thought about that, and running down the card, the winners, the results, and all the other kind of information like that. Introducing first, I am your host as always, Tony Mango, and joining me as always are Callum Wiggins.
EW.
And Robert DeFelice.
Hey, EW.
I think I should have the Fonz on here, and he should be AEW, and that could balance it out a little more. Yeah, so we're going to get into the long and the short of everything here, but before we do that, I just want to remind everybody to do the same. Leave a comment below if you are on our YouTube channel, and if you are there, hit that subscribe button and ring that little bell for the notifications to be aware of the next couple of things that are going to be coming your way. We will talk about them later on in the show, but if you are elsewhere on some of the iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play or Spotify or Anchor or all the other types of different audio podcast streaming platforms that we have out there, those are not going to let you leave comments. But you can head on over to the YouTube channel and do that there, or you can go on the page on smarkoutmoment.com and tell us what you think. In any capacity, I want to know what you think about this pay-per-view, because we are going to be breaking down what we think, and I think we're going to have a variety of different reactions to different things here. This is not the type of thing that I'm expecting it to be a resounding, oh, this is amazing, or, wow, this was garbage. So if you are the type that you're clicking on this, wanting us to crap all over AEW, you're going to be a little disappointed. If you're the type that want us to talk about how AEW is infinitely better than WWE in all aspects, you're going to be a little disappointed. I don't think we're going to really help out on either side of the argument when it comes to that. But, we're going to talk about the minutiae of that, and we're going to start things off with the buy-in. Now, the buy-in is their pre-show, for those who aren't aware, and it acts pretty much the same as the kickoff in WWE. We had 3 matches, though, because WWE typically only has 1, and they have a little bit more of a relaxed atmosphere to the whole thing. It's an hour long that doesn't have to have the whole, let's show you video packages and do all that. And I like that quite a bit. That is a nice, refreshing change of pace to just have more of, the wrestling card and stuff. But before the matches, what did you guys think about, the set and how they did everything when it came to, just introducing the buy-in with pretty much no, this is Fyter Fest, and this is all like this, whatever. What'd you guys think? Did that just sort of come out of the blue with you, like it did with me? It was just sort of like, oh, we're starting. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I watched on YouTube this time, because the YouTube stream was not only working better than it was for Double or Nothing, but it was ahead of the Bleacher Report one, so I watched it on YouTube. They didn't explain too much in the beginning, but as we got backstage segments, you got the joke of Fyter Fest with, all these bands canceling. And I thought those touches were cutesy. You had the models.
Well, that's we're getting way past that point. I'm talking straight up, just very beginning of the whole thing.
You mean just hey, we're live?
Yeah, that kind of aspect to it.
Yeah, well, actually, it started with you could hear them fidgeting around. It literally just went up from the, testing screen to, all right, we're on the air. So
I didn't hear that.
I'm guessing that's growing pains, but who knows?
Any thoughts on that, Callum?
I got into the first match a couple of minutes in, so I didn't really see any of that side of things. But the set was fine.
Well, the set itself, that was something I definitely want to talk about, because they had the illusions, like we were talking about, the tents. They had these 4 different models out there. I saw some people joking, saying oh, they couldn't get any good-looking models and stuff. And then, of course, other people are like, there's models are so hot and stuff. Totally a matter of opinion. They had this reference to the whole, taking one for the team type of thing and whatever. I like that. That was fun. And they kind of went straight into the 3-way match for the whole potential first round bye for the tournament kind of thing. Best Friends versus Private Party versus SoCal Uncensored. Big fan of this match. One of my favorite matches of the night. I thought that 2 things in particular that stood out to me that I liked as far as spots went that I wrote down were, they called it the silly string, which I thought was kind of funny. where they did that tornado DDT and Private Party, doing this kind of thing. They're bouncing off of Kassidy, Quen in particular stood out to me. He was like the standout for this whole. There's 6 people in this match, and Quen's the one that made me go, "Oh, okay, that guy's got a lot of talent that I should be paying attention to." There was a Hurricane Rana into a stunner that I liked quite a bit. So I just straight up liked this match. I was surprised that Best Friends won, but I was cool with all 3 by the end of the match.
If I had one gripe with this match, it would be that it was good enough, if not, better than some of the things we got on the main card, that maybe this should have been presented on the main card.
I agree. I think maybe Daniels and Cima should have been on the pre-show instead.
I would agree with that 100%. This match was fantastic. To echo what Tony said, Quen has these vibes of just fucking cool. The shade stayed on for like the first third of the match, and he was doing a lot with them on, and I was surprised at how well they were staying. And Private Party is going to be one of the best tag teams out there in the next year. You're going to be talking about them nonstop. I love the Best Friends. Unlike Tony, was not surprised that they won. I kind of predicted that they would catapult this into more of the feud with the Dark Order, which we did get after the match. But I thought this was a solid match that should have been on the main card.
I think this match was perfect to be on the buy-in show, because I think people seem to misunderstand what a kickoff or pre-show is supposed to do. It's supposed to entice people to buy the actual show if they've been on the fence about doing it, and they'd get a chance to watch part of it for free.
Well,
so why would you?
If that's the case, 2/3 of it didn't.
Yeah, and I know we'll get into that, but why would you put the crappier matches on the show, which is supposed to be convincing people to get the card in the first place? Like, this one did its job properly. When we'll discuss the other 2, didn't do the job as well as they should have done. It should have at least been. This should have been the last match before of the show of the buy-in side of things.
I can agree with that. I think, as we'll talk about, the Nakazawa shit should have opened the buy-in and just gotten that out of the way right away.
Which shouldn't have been there. I think we could probably just also
100%.
But it's just a case of this match was really, really good. I hadn't seen much Private Party off that. I definitely want to keep watching them after this, because they were a great cruiserweight style tag team with a lot of high flying, a lot of Hurricane Ranas, a lot of like double team offense, which was very innovative in its style. The other 2 were more very traditional tag teams. Not to say they were bad or anything. Everybody was pulling their weight in this match, but they were just what you'd expect to see from tag team wrestling pretty much anywhere in the world, especially in North America, whereas the other 2 were a bit more flash and exciting. I kind of wanted Private Party to win by the end of it, and they had a few near falls towards the end where I thought, oh, that'd be quite cool, because these other 2 teams are already well established, they're already well known by the audience. If you give Private Party a win right off the bat, then you just say, okay, these are guys that we've got to look out for. But they decided to go with a more safe bet by giving Best Friends the win. Can't say I'm against that decision, because there'll probably be people that go further in the tag team tournament initially. But yeah, I think it was a good introduction to who Private Party are and why we should be excited about them.
Yeah, I mean, no team came out of this looking bad. And I disagree with the idea that this should have been the last match on the pre-show, because I think if that is the whole point of the selling point kind of thing, you should start off strong. And that's where I kind of think that maybe the Daniels and Cima match would have still accomplished that, and this would have continued to build things up a little bit more.
My reasoning behind you can't put Cima on the kickoff shows, because he'll be wrestling Kenny Omega on your next show.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can't present him as a pre-match guy.
Yeah, I buy into that. That makes sense. I buy in. Didn't even plan on it.
I do have to mention, based on the back of this one, I have to talk about the commentary.
I wanted to talk about that from the start of the pre-show as well. Yeah. I don't know if you're going to say the same thing that I'm going to say, but go ahead.
They were a bunch of smarks. and they were very corny, and their sense of humors were terrible.
Who's the heel commentator?
So the heel commentator must have been I thought it was Golden Boy, but it must have been the guy who left when JR came out.
There was a British guy.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I don't know who his name was because I didn't catch the attention. I know it was basically the same team. So it's Golden Boy, Excalibur, and this other guy. And the guy that was the heel was so desperate for people to think, oh yeah, I'm definitely the heel commentator. Guys, look at me. I'm a heel commentator. Sorry, I don't know if you saw me. I am a heel commentator. I'm going to insult all of your intelligence and say that, like, in the next match, they took, I think, 2 different points within like a 5-minute span. He says, can these people count past 5? And can these people even read? It's like, do they even get it?
It seems like, because we are in that era of people growing up on the Attitude Era, he must have been a really big fan of like a Jerry Lawler style heel or even a Bobby Heenan. But he was just so, and girls, my room number is blank. And, you know, by the way, and this was during the, I believe, librarian match, these people can't even read. And, you know, I could count the amount of teeth in the audience on one hand. And it's just like a lot of really weird shit for 2019, and not in like this was refreshing. It was just, okay, this is corny and outdated, and please, you don't even have the charisma to pull this off. Please stop.
No, this was awful. He is not the type of person who could be pulling off the idea that all right, a heel commentator can be a lot of fun and can be something that upgrades a match just by hearing like some good little banter back and forth. Like Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan was a great pairing because they played off each other, and it was like, you know, those matches are slow back then. There's not really anything to pay attention to. So you're listening to Bobby Heenan crack some jokes and whatever, and it's like a good, like, you know, kind of side thing to be listening to. Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross, great timing together, played off each other very well. I'd even argue that Michael Cole and JBL do a good job together like that. This dude's just sitting there going like, fuck Daytona. And you're like, I fucking get it. I don't care who you are. Like, you are not supposed to be spending this match trying to get yourself over as a commentator. You're supposed to be talking about the match. And if you happen to be good enough, you get over as a heel commentator. Don't try to take the focus away from that. He was awful. And the commentary team throughout the whole night, even when that guy stopped being an annoyance, it's just lackluster. Like, Jim Ross even, I didn't feel any of the commentary.
Oh, I disagree with the thing. I don't want to say like commentary was great the entire night, because it definitely wasn't, but I'm used to terrible commentary every single time we watch a WWE show, so I basically get over that side of things. But it's pretty apparent to me that Jim Ross, even at his age right now, is better than any commentator that WWE, AEW, or pretty much anywhere outside of New Japan can offer at this point in time.
Did you think that it was weird, though, that Jim Ross kept acting as if he was still in WWE?
Yeah, well...
Like, Devon's not here. Like,
yeah, he did make... I wondered if we would be getting, like, WWE sued JR for making a tables, ladders, and chairs reference. But I just chalked that up to force of habit, you know?
I think he's been instructed to do that.
Really?
I think he's being told to take shots at WWE when he gets the opportunity to. Not that I completely disagree with the idea of doing it, because, you know, that's what people watching this are doing, because they've already pretty much put their flag on the ground of saying, we're not WWE and that's why you should like us, beyond anything else, really.
Ben said it in the Megamaniacs, and I think that he really he's on to something when it comes to that. He said it seems like people want an alternative to WWE more than they want necessarily AEW to be a good thing. It's just like, without that momentum of being so, oh man, I'm so frustrated at WWE, maybe AEW isn't quite still as high up there, you know? And the more that they go into that, and the more that they turn into the skid when it comes to that, the more that I feel like they need to get away from it. Like, I want AEW to be good enough for me to not have to compare them to WWE.
They're still fresh out of the gate. If they're still doing that by, let's say, whatever the Labor Day show is in 2020, then yeah, that's a huge issue. But this is their second event, and since we already gave our whole thoughts on the commentary team, I'm convinced that Alex Marvez is the worst person ever, because I thought this was far better, and that's not even saying it was all that good, but I thought it was still far better than the Double or Nothing commentary. I think Alex Marvez shouldn't be on the commentary team going forward.
Who was Marvez?
Marvez was the other guy with Excalibur and JR last time around. So this time he was replaced by Golden Boy, who's more on like the gamer side of things. But I thought Golden Boy was fine. Like, he didn't overstep any boundaries. He didn't understep either. He just added the perfect middle ground. And JR is JR. And I really like Excalibur. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I think he's doing well in his job.
Well, best friends win.
Yeah.
And after the match, the Dark Order come on the, I guess you can't really call it a Titantron. So I guess the screen.
The Elite. I was going to try to find a word that's synonymous with Tron with an E, but I can't think of anything.
Yeah, you're not very good at those, are you?
Not on the spot. Give me a minute.
That sets up this idea that the Dark Order is definitely coming for best friends in particular. They weren't just attacking them at Double or Nothing for the sake of just attacking a random tag team. They want them to be there first, which is like, okay, that's creepy. And they pull an Undertaker. They do the whole lights go out, the lights come back on. They're there. Lights go out. Lights go back on. They're not there. Like, ooh, spooky. And I mean, it's continuity. I like that, but didn't really do much for me.
You could see boots under the ring during the match.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Just throwing that out there.
Didn't catch that. Well, then after that, they go into this video package thing, and they're all making fun of the idea of the Fyter Festival. They're saying, we were supposed to have this organic salmon dishes, and we got the cheese sandwiches. We've blown through the budget. We're bleeding money. The ring gear for the Young Bucks isn't going to show up, but Kenny Omega has figured it out, and in the process, he's blown through half the budget. So all the 2 out of the 4 women that are on the stage, those models, they're gone. They're replaced by mannequins, and I thought that was funny. I liked that quite a bit.
Yeah, that was harmless, and it was a good laugh.
It seems that they're trying to make part of the their buy-in shows a little bit of like an extended version of being the Elite.
Yeah,
and that's not a bad thing.
It's a little different, so
Yeah.
Different can be good, and different can be bad.
Oh,
Because
God.
then we followed it up with Leva Bates. Now, before this, they had somewhat put out a whole thing of Kylie Ray versus Leva Bates, and I had even put that on my Bleacher Report article for anybody who's curious about that. And
we previewed that match.
Yeah, we talked about how that was going to go down and Kylie Ray was going to win, whatever the case may be. And earlier yesterday, they sent out word that match is not happening. We're going to replace it with something else, and they wanted that off of the prediction page and stuff like that too, which is funny enough. But I'm thinking, okay, Leva Bates is coming out. We're going to get some kind of a match. Maybe the Kylie Ray match is actually on or something. And she starts doing the shushing thing because, she's one of the librarians. Peter Avalon is inside of the tent that's on the stage. He comes out. He's the other librarian. They're shushing and shushing and shushing. She talks about how the gamers in the audience would be better off reading books. People are buying into it a little bit, but at the same time, I'm looking around online. I'm looking around in the Megamaniacs and our Slack chat, all the other kind of things like that. Almost nobody seemed to be giving a shit about this. There's people saying this is trash. There's people saying this is stupid. Like, not really digging it all that much.
I've never seen something jump the shark in 5 minutes before. And that it was just an absolutely... it basically beggars belief, really, with the idea of apparently the reason why Leva Bates and Peter Avalon the librarian is because Tony Khan wanted a librarian character as a wrestler, but Cody also wanted a librarian character, and so they're both each other's librarians. So that's just stupid in regards anyway. And then the shushing thing is just incessant, and I'll give Leva Bates credit; she's committed to it, and so I give her credit for that. But if you commit to a stupid character, it's still a stupid character. It's just a stupid character that you're committed to.
See, here's the thing about it with me. I don't mind having a stupid character, even in 2019. Like, this is very, 1990s WWF era type stuff. Like,
the glory is they're all center.
Yeah. I don't mind it in theory. And if Leva Bates herself were to have pitched that idea and to have come in with the game plan of doing that, and she was just one side thing and that was it, and there was no Peter Avalon, and a lot of these other elements were tweaked a little bit, then I'd be fine with it. Like, if she was just another wrestler on the roster and she happened to do this librarian type thing and it was like, I'm going to shush you just a little bit, not for like 5 fucking minutes, and not necessarily be like, oh, we're in on the joke and all this, that bugs me. And when you have Peter Avalon doing it too, it kills it. And it strikes me less as a funny joke and more of when, I guess kind of the equivalent of like, if somebody tells a joke and then you hear them tell it like 16 more times in a row because they thought that they could get more and more laughs. And then you're just like, all right, dude, knock it off. It's not funny anymore. This is already not funny. And I didn't like the librarian thing at Double or Nothing either. So at this point, I just don't want to see it anymore, you know?
Well, with the payoff of this whole thing being that the Elite didn't even want it on the show and that Tony Khan just wanted a librarian, I have to assume that at some point, Leva Bates and Peter Avalon are just going to go, this is fucking stupid, and I'm just going to be Leva Bates and Peter Avalon will be Peter Avalon. But we'll get there, even if it's on an episode of BTE. I think that is the overall payoff of this, because it is a little inside where it's, oh, we're all in on the joke. And the crowd, as stupid as it is, had a ball with the Hooked on Phonics and Reading Rainbow chants. And I think this is their brand of comedy. You know, it's, hey, you're in on the joke with us. Wrestling can be stupid sometimes.
If this is their brand of comedy, it sucks.
I agree.
And also, it's, even though it might be an in-joke for their current fan base, it's not going to do absolutely nothing to attract new fans, which is what they should be trying to do, especially on a free show.
Yeah,
where you can get many more people tuning in. This would have turned, if I wasn't like committed to already watching this stuff and things like that, if I was just a new fan coming in saying, oh, what's this thing, that would have turned me off immediately.
This is the type of thing that I feel if they are trying to appeal to a sports market, they killed it.
Yeah.
Like, I know that there's like a wide variety of people that like certain things, and I even mentioned this in one of the reviews. There's people that tune into wrestling because they like the hardcore matches, and there's people that tune in for the sports side of things. There's people that tune in for mat wrestling, and people that tune in for storyline drama, and people that tune in for comedy, and all the different variety of things. But if you go from having a great match with the 3-way tag team match, and it's all like, well, we're going to focus a lot on wrestling, and we're going to be different than WWE because WWE has all this nonsense, and then you go straight into this librarian thing, and to be perfectly honest, you finish it, that whole segment, with Allie just comes out, and it's like, oh, I guess they're having a match, and it's instead of Kylie Ray, and the match itself is just fine. It's nothing horrible, it's nothing really particularly good. Then I'm looking at that, and I'm going, oh, okay, so if I didn't know anything about this company, I'm thinking, oh, they got some stunt performers, and they've got this weird gimmicky kind of thing going on. Probably the whole rest of the night's going to be 50-50 like that, and I don't know if I really want to tune in for that.
I think saying this match was fine is probably an overstatement of what fine can actually be. I I think when I got lost into the idea of like the Blue Pants character and how over that was in NXT, I suddenly forgot to realize that Leva Bates is very mediocre as an actual in-ring worker. She's a great character performer, but in terms of her actual ring work, her strikes are really sloppy and weak. I thought this match was really, outside of the chants that were based around like the reading and all the other stuff, it was just really slow and meandering, and it was basically what you'd expect from a 4 to 5 minute women's singles match on SmackDown or something like that. It was, and that could be fine, but like it still really didn't do anything for me at all.
I feel you guys are right. First of all, this match was not good, but I also feel like this could have been fine for the pre-show. This is the pre-show women's match from WWE like 5 years ago. You know, this was average at best, and I don't think it gets there. I'm not really feeling Allie. You know, I think she's not somebody who needs a lot of spotlight. I know she's getting the match with Brandy in 2 weeks, and that to me says so she'll be a major babyface for them. But I would have much rather seen Kylie Ray and seen Kylie blow through Leva Bates, and probably had more fun with the shushing gimmick. She could have probably played it off better. Allie tried, but this wasn't it, you know what I mean?
The only positive that I wrote for this match was I liked Leva Bates putting on a submission and having the shush finger. That was it.
Like I say, she's Queen. Well, the thing that I found that I like the most out of it is that Bates used a pedigree and Ali kicked out of it.
Yeah, I did think the pedigree was funny.
The finish was probably the worst part of the entire thing, and the idea that so what they do is Peter Avalon gets on the apron and says that something in the book is going to help her, or either using the book or something in the book is going to help Bates win the match. And so Bates is like right next to her. He just hand the book to her, but he theatrically throws it so far over her head that Ali catches it. And you're meant to believe like, oh, that was a mistake. I was meant to throw it to you instead. And then Ali throws the book back at Bates, who stands there holding the book for a couple of seconds, while Ali gets ready to do a super kick and pin her afterwards.
You know what this struck me as? You ever go to like a convention of like I don't know, like just to toss it out, like the Too Many Games convention or something like that, where they happen to say like, oh, also we're gonna have some like professional wrestling happen, and you can tell that it's just like kind of goofy and it's not gonna be like good, you know, like that's kind of how it felt to me. Like this is not like a number 2 wrestling organization across the world. Let's put on a show that's going to make everybody feel like we are this great entity that we should invest in type thing. This was like a bunch of, you know, local house show, indie fed people all like drinking a beer and watching something that's going to make them laugh. And then being like, this is great wrestling, you know. And I will say I like this match better than the other women's match that happened later. I'm going to crap all over that one.
Well, I just want to say you hit the nail on the head, you know that. I don't know if that was your intention, but you said this match felt like a gaming convention where they go, hey, we're going to have some professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly the scenario they were in. And yeah, not a good match, but also not the worst match on the pre-show.
Yeah, that's... So, Ali wins that match, and I guess when you're sitting there going, how do we sell this to people? How do we get them to tune in and really want to watch the rest of it? And we gave them this great 3-way match. We gave them this weird, stupid comedy thing. Then this lackluster Ali versus Leva Bates thing. I know how to follow up that gimmicky, stupid thing with something even worse. Something even more gimmicky. Something even... Oh, God. Alex Bailey versus Michael Nakazawa in a hardcore match. And this was just dreadful.
Yeah.
There was nothing good about this. Jabali comes out and he's got this little pyro thing, and it's like, oh, he's got pyro. They said something like, this is going to be the only example of nepotism or whatever.
Which
Yeah, I've
was
got the-
fucking hysterical.
Yeah, I've got the exact quote. This is the one time you'll see indulgent nepotism in AEW.
Which is fucking hysterical because look at everything. I mean, I love them, but it can come across sometimes as a circle jerk for the elite.
Yeah, because I'm sure all of those years that Brandy Rhodes put into being a branding officer in her other jobs, and it's true.
Or the whole hey brother, we're gonna have this match against the Young Bucks, so we're gonna main event. It's like a good majority of what you're building right now is nepotism. So don't slap us in the face like that.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with the product that you got, because I didn't watch that Jabali Nakazawa match that they had before. I didn't even bother looking it up online, mostly because I just don't have the time. But I just figured that it was going to suck, and I wanted to go into this with no, hindrance ahead of time. But how do you get a match that, we were talking about this on the preview for it, there were so many things that they could have done to make this gimmick fun. They could have had finishing moves based off of fighting games. They could have had weapons that were like, how did they not throw a Super Mario Brothers sledgehammer at each other? Or, different things like that. They used a GameCube controller one time, and the rest of it was just, I want to play wrestler. With a kendo stick at a table spot and these atrocious forearms from Jabali.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's exactly hitting the nail on the head on your expression there. It's a guy playing wrestler.
Yeah.
Because he is so... This is a guy, if you'd had a week's worth of training and you perform like this, you probably should never wrestle ever again. This guy's probably had months... He's wrestled before, so he's probably had months of training to build up to this and other things in the past. And he's terrible. Oh my god, you managed to know how to do a body slam. I can do a body slam right now and probably not hurt someone. And I've never stepped a foot in a ring before. It's but that's the move that he keeps going to the well with. Going to do that in the ring, and people are going to get excited about it. Going to do it in a swimming pool, and everyone's going to get excited about it. Ugh.
Let's not forget the match started with him going, "Hi, Mr. Cripple." Oh, wait, I can't say that. I'm in America.
And then doing the whole, well, your right leg is messed up. Hey, it's my left leg. Oh, thanks for telling me. Oh my god, this was just so fucking stupid. This was not the good type of stupid at all.
The thong, by the way. Well, before the thong, let's go back to the blatant nepotism. So Alex Jabali takes out a CEO branded bag, which the commentary was just eating up how much the branding was all over this one. And there's not thumbtacks in the bag. We would get that later. But there is arcade stick buttons covered in Alex Jabali's face, of which Michael Nakazawa was back body dropped onto, and yay.
And this is a nitpicky thing, but he dumps them, and the commentary team's like, wait a minute, does that have his face on it? You can't fucking see that from there. It's the type of thing that it's like, I get it. You're just saying that because you want people to know that. But give it 2 seconds to make it seem like you're actually looking at the damn thing. Don't just be like, oh, looks like that's got his face on there.
Well, can I talk something that's just even more egregious, potentially? If you have an untrained worker in the ring, do not, under any circumstances, let them do a German suplex. He landed right on the back of his head on that suplex. And that's why people have to train for years to do this stuff, or months, even years to do this stuff safely. Because if you just put some guy in the ring doing it, who knows what could have happened to Nakazawa if he'd landed badly on that one.
Right. The finish of this was probably the worst part, too. He rolls up Nakazawa. The referee's waiting, whatever. They go for the pin. It's 2. Nakazawa reverses it.
No, the referee wasn't waiting. The referee got the thong in the face and was so repulsed and lost his wit that he couldn't count the 3.
And then Jabali's just kind of sitting there, like, getting pinned. Just dreadful.
With the thong in the you gotta put over this thong, Tony. Clearly that was the spot they were building to.
Yeah, but it just makes, like, we were talking about when the build up to this, with the idea of, okay, so Nakazawa's going to win, and he did end up winning because he's obviously the guy that's in the ring. But you did everything you possibly could do to make him look like this is not a serious threat in any situation ever again, because he should have been pinned by the completely untrained wrestler for well over a 3 count. The commentators were even counting along, like 4, 5, 6, and then just
off of nothing but a La Magistra cradle, by the way.
Yeah. So you just have a bad match, which the live crowd seem to enjoy, so I'm glad they're happy. As at the end of the day, that's the main audience you're, like, presenting for, but I'm pretty sure many other people would say that was pretty horrendous. And it hasn't helped either guy in any way get over with the audience.
And here's where I come into my criticism that I'm sure I'm going to upset some people about, but the people in the audience that were absolutely loving absolutely everything that happened on this card, maybe you did for real, but I don't buy it. I think that there's so many people that are just convincing themselves that everything is so great because they are so mad at WWE. And it's just a matter of, I will say that this was great because it's not WWE, which means it's great. That kind of thing.
I, for the first time since AEW started, got the real sense of, oh, this is back in TNA.
Yeah.
Because TNA had always bad stuff, but TNA did have bad stuff, and the crowd would go crazy for it. There was a real hardcore fan base, and probably still is today, towards Impact Wrestling and TNA back in the day, who would just live and die by everything that company did. No matter how stupid, no matter how great it was always great. And there are clearly people who take that same approach to AEW. And the same way people do that for WWE as well. So
yeah, I mean, to be fair, and I'm going to say this again when it comes to the 3-way with the women. If you take each element out of this and you put it in a bubble, and you compare it to WWE, you compare it to ROH, you compare it to New Japan, all that other kind of stuff, you should be just as fair about it. So if WWE were to do a pre-show and they were to have these 3 matches, people would shit all over it. They would like the first match. They would think that the second one was too hokey and stupid, and the whole thing with the librarians was the type of comedy that people don't like, and the only person who's laughing about this whole thing with Jabalia, Nakazawa, and the thong is Vince McMahon backstage and all this, and they would think that it was stupid. But since it's not WWE, there's going to be a portion of people that are sitting there going, well, this was great because you got to laugh at something like this. I don't think that without that stigma, that the same level of audience would love these things as much.
I always harken back to an interview that Matt Jackson did where he openly says, I don't know if people are just supporting us because we're not WWE. I don't know if Nick and I went to WWE, if we would lose our whole fan base because we went to WWE. And sometimes I think there is a kernel of truth there.
I think it's far more than a kernel at this point. And not to say that AEW, listen, it's just, however your opinion about the show is, if you think it was a bad show, it's just one bad show off the back of a really good show for the most part, the previous one. So it's just, it's nothing to get super, like, batshit insane about, and I'm sure many people will do. But I think there is still there is a very strong semblance of the fact of people are just so desperate for a alternative. And whether this alternative is good, like proves to be good long term, is yet to be seen, obviously, when we get the TV deal and all that other stuff. But right now, people just really want to see another company succeed because they're tired of seeing the same old shit in WWE.
And if you're looking for an alternative to Smark Out Moment, you can check out fanboysanonymous.com.
Are you serious?
Oh my god, we're gonna have a brand war.
Hold on.
It is the blue brand.
Hold on. If you're looking for an alternative to me, here's me, just me, because nobody else does this.
Very much so. Well, if you don't know what Fanboys Anonymous is, it's my gaming side of things, my movie stuff, my TV stuff, and all that kind of crap. So go to fanboysanonymous.com and check out all that stuff there. Hit up that YouTube channel, subscribe to the Facebook and Twitter, do the merchandise, the Patreon, all the same stuff that we're going to say for Smark Out Moment. It's all just at Fanboys Anonymous, except for the fucking Twitter, because I couldn't get that because it's not the same amount of characters. But that's Fanboys Anon. Just follow everything on Fanboys Anonymous. And check out what I have to say about Toy Story 4 and stuff. We got that plug out of the way. I had to jump on that one. That's good. Too good. Yeah, so that's the buy-in. And if you were in America, you didn't have to buy this event. So technically the buy-in wasn't really a buy-in, but you're on the main card and you go to Christopher Daniels versus Cima. And I honestly have to admit, I barely watched this match because I was doing live coverage for 3 things at the same time. And at this point, I was trying to catch up. So what I did watch, I wasn't really impressed with, but I didn't dislike it either. It just felt like just a match. So did I miss anything great, or am I just kind of in the same ballpark?
First of all, for context, I do want to say that I was also doing a lot of coverage, so I feel like this is going to be a Callum-led show in some ways. But from what I did see, it was good, and I was openly surprised at how great Christopher Daniels moves at the age of 49.
Well, first of all, I want to jump on that to say if you want to watch want to listen to at least another Callum-led show, you can check out the latest episode of 2001: A Wrestling Odyssey, which has just gone which is now live on the Smark Moment channel. So just after you finish listening to this one, just hop back and listen to the previous video. Take the opportunities when they present themselves. It's funny also because like you guys were barely watching this match because of the other coverage you're doing. I watched this from start to finish, and I barely watched this match. It's just this was so by the numbers, which is fine for an opener to any kind of show. It was a good warm up thing. It's like you say, it's not bad by any stretch of the imagination. There were some good spots. Cima is obviously very well drilled in wrestling. He knows what he's doing. Daniels knows what he's doing, but they're not two people that I think that will really push the boat out. To try and say, this is a big moment to really stand out and show what we can do at this point. Daniels doesn't need to because he's got the longevity behind him, and Cima didn't really capitalize on the opportunity well enough. But he got a win. He kicked out of the Angels' wings, so he has that credit behind him. So they did what they could to build him up to be a worthy challenger to be kicked in the face and lose to Kenny Omega. But that's about it, really. Then really go out of second gear for me.
I think that's fair. And again, I just want to say Daniels is a vampire and he's moving very well for his age. And I'm excited to see Cima versus Kenny Omega. It feels like a lackluster match for Omega, but I'm sure they'll do their best to make it special.
Yeah, I don't really know much about Cima still at this point, having not really been able to watch this match. I don't really know what to look forward to. I don't know what his finisher is, any of that. So I can't really talk much about it.
In this match, the way they finished it was with a seated Meteora. So it's similar to the one that Sasha Banks would use as a signature move in WWE.
Oh, then we get to this. Yuka Sakazaki, Riho, and Nyla Rose.
So disappointed.
Look, I said this earlier. I'm going to repeat it again, but it bears repeating because that's the point. If this were 3 women that were on the WWE roster, and this was Extreme Rules, or fucking Backlash, whatever, it doesn't matter, people would shit on it. And yet people were chanting this is awesome. There were so many botches in this. From all 3 people, too. It wasn't just Nyla Rose. At first, I thought it might be just like a Nyla Rose type thing. And then I'm like, no, Riho and Sakazaki are doing these sequences. And there must have been like 5 times during this match or so where those two in particular are supposed to be doing this big, like, oh, look, we can do these series of moves together. And they're like not catching each other, and they're just like stopping so that they could restart doing a move. Nyla Rose breaks up a pin at one point, and she just very casually like pushes them. The commentators even make fun of it. Sakazaki runs to stop and then jump on the ropes and wobble and do a springboard. Like, this was just not good.
After obviously the 6-woman tag on the Double or Nothing, which I was incredibly impressed by, and two of the people in this match in particular I was very impressed by. This is such a huge fall from grace, and it's not, like you say, it's not all down to Nyla Rose, although Nyla Rose has her part to play in this. She is a million miles away from being the next Awesome Kong, if that's what they kind of perceive her to be, as like this huge bully and like the big powerhouse on the roster. She's very slow, very plodding, she does have some element of charisma about her, which I think will hopefully carry her through in this this period where she's still honing her craft. But I wasn't particularly impressed by what she was doing, and the fact that the whole match was kind of just built around her beating these other two women up didn't really do too much for me. And then when you do get the moments where both Sakazaki and Riho were working together, they were botching quite a lot, and it was very clunky and like disorientated. And yeah, I was expecting a lot more, at least from those two. I didn't expect this match to be any better than the 6-woman tag, but I was expecting a few better things. But like, I guess the crowd were seeing something different than what I was seeing.
This struck me as like Nia Jax from NXT versus Tainara Kanshi versus Aaliyah, where it's just like none of these elements are working.
I 100% missed this match. I saw Nyla Rose go for a swanton and miss, and then Riho shortly won afterwards. From what it sounds like this division needs more Aja Kong in there.
Oh, I hated Aja Kong in that last one, so that's the last thing that they need, I think.
Well, I think the weird thing is like the idea of, and again, we keep making these comparisons to WWE. I can't really pretend that I'm not going to do it at any point in time, so I'm not going to keep apologizing for it, because I'm just going to at some point. But it's like the thing we talk about how, say they've got this giant match between, I don't know, let's say they were put together at some point Lars Sullivan against Ricochet, and you have Lars Sullivan basically just beat Ricochet up for 95% of the match, and then Ricochet rolls him up. It doesn't make either guy look good. So you have an entire match built around Nyla Rose destroying both people, and at least you have some sort of element in storytelling in that Nyla Rose is just too cocky and confident in her own ability that she thinks that she can win this whenever she wants to, and so she keeps being lackadaisical about making covers and stuff like that. But then to just have one of the two of them, and not even the one that I like the most, because I'm a big fan of Yuka Sakazaki, and it was Riho that was the one that got the win anyway. So even that like left me a bit cold. And then they both take out Rose at the end of it, and then they just push each other because women can't like each other.
And what's the benefit of this too? If this was supposed to build up Nyla Rose as somebody who can be the next Awesome Kong, she's lost both of her matches so far. So
yeah, like let's take a minute to talk about that whole wins-loss record, because they want this to be a big deal. So far, Nyla is 0 for 2. Riho, who's only got like 3 more matches with them as of her current deal, hasn't lost a singles match. Sakazaki came out a fan favorite, but that whole ending was weird. From what I saw of this, I didn't like, but I also heard a crowd chanting, "This is awesome," so what do I know, you know?
Well, I got to assume that This Is Awesome crowd is the ones that you could have put. You could put the Cracker Barrel in the fucking middle of the ring, and had nothing else going on, just the barrel, and people would have been like, "Oh, like you know."
In fairness to them, I think that This Is Awesome chant came as the result of that knee drop off the top rope that Nyla Rose did, which did actually look pretty good, and so maybe that one instance, it definitely wasn't awesome, but maybe that one instance they just thought, oh yeah, this is going great, and then the rest of it happened.
Not
But
a fan.
no, not a fan of this match at all.
Not a fan at all. But if you are a fan and you want to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, Facebook and Twitter are both at SmarkOutMoment, so go ahead and follow us there. Let's go to the four-way. I did like this four-way match. It was Jungle Boy, Jimmy Havoc, MJF, and Hangman Adam Page. MJF starts it off with a great promo where he's just being MJF, the fucking man. The only one I remember that he said out of the whole night was something about, like, your mom swallows or something like that, which is kind of like, that's a low joke to be like, oh, I fucked your mom, like that kind of thing. But at the same time, like, he got people laughing and he got people booing him. And he established that he was the firm heel in this whole thing, and he was just entertaining. So I liked that more than most of the card. But I liked even Luchasaurus coming out with Jungle Boy. I liked his MJF's crack about Jimmy Havoc being like still going through his emo phase. I liked Hangman Adam Page very much being like the obvious babyface that should win this match, and coming out as the winner by pinning Jimmy Havoc instead of pinning MJF, because they got more legs to that. They can piggyback off that later.
MJF is clearly the heel star that will carry this promotion for as long as it lasts once they're done with Jericho. Adam Page did win. I was worried that they put him in a four-way to kind of protect him from losing, but he did win. I thought that was very well done. Still have no clue why Havoc and Jungle Boy have been the two chosen for these spots. I don't get the Jungle Boy thing. It kind of comes across to me a little bit like a librarian thing, where if WWE, and yes, we've said a lot, but like Callum said, we're going to keep doing it. If WWE said, here's essentially a Tarzan character with a dude that thinks he's a dinosaur, what would people say?
I think that with the Jungle Boy thing, even though the gimmick is corny and obviously it seems like a bit of a weird character, instead of the librarian thing, I can get alongside it because Jungle Boy can clearly work, and Luchasaurus can clearly work from what I've seen of him. So you can kind of over compensate for that side of things due to the fact that you can actually put good matches together. And even though Adam Page is the bigger star out of it, I think Jungle Boy came across as the clear fan favorite in this one. He was definitely getting the bigger reactions. I think he has more in tune with the female audience as well because he's a good-looking guy. And so I think you can build it around him as well in that regard to try and as one of the audiences that you want to appeal to. I thought the match was just very good. It wasn't like super special, but as four ways go, it was definitely on the better end of the scale. I like the fact that they had this confrontation towards the end of just Page and MJF getting nose to nose, pretty much saying that, okay, these are the two people that in 3 or 4 years' time, when AEW, these two are going to be our two main eventers. One on the heel side, one on the babyface side, and this is just the start of what we're going to see from these two going forward. And having Page win by pinning Havoc, who probably has the shortest shelf life of any of these people in AEW, is probably the right way of going.
Yeah, I mean, I think that these all have their different stories to tell. They're all going to play their different parts. Havoc isn't going to be this big, huge star. Maybe, I mean, who knows? But Jungle Boy is young. Jungle Boy can play up this mid-card type of babyface that gets to show off a lot of things, but is still kind of not winning all those matches, and kind of like a little bit like of a Rey Mysterio type. I could see him in that kind of role. Like WCW, Rey Mysterio would lose. He won, Cruiserweight Championship and different things here and there, but he wasn't like, we're going to introduce him as this big guy and he's going to win all these matches and stuff. And I think that everybody kind of played their parts really well. So this one was pretty standard. And like, Nothing really wild about it, nothing really crazy, yet it didn't need to be. It was the most textbook type of thing I think we got throughout this whole night. And I like that quite a bit.
I particularly like the Tower of Doom spot, because when you typically have a 4-way with Tower of Doom spot, it's just like all 4 people going down, but it was just the 3 of them, and MJF was right in the middle of the ring going, oh shit, it's going to land on me. That was quite... MJF is the best.
He's the standout of this whole division, I think. As much as everybody's like, oh, Kenny Omega's great, and Moxley's like this big star and all that, if I were WWE and I were looking to try to sign somebody, I'd be like, I need that MJF guy. And he probably wouldn't sign.
Should we talk also about the fact that obviously the winner of this match, Paige, gets the prestigious honor of facing Kip Sabian at Fight for the Fallen?
You're goddamn right. That is a prestigious honor. Chris Jericho, who? He's fighting super bad Kip Sabian. Like, the guy who won the first ever AEW match.
I didn't even catch that.
Well, he was on commentary. He was like, that was the one of the other British guys on commentary.
Huh. I guess I'm gonna have to update my my schedule thing for that, because I did not catch that at all. And if that's their big plan, it's just kind of like, there's 2. Then that kind of plays into one of the things I don't really like about AEW right now, which is like, these are just matches.
They need TV so bad.
They really do.
Yeah, once TV happens, hopefully it'll be resolved a lot easier. But they're still trying to build stories, as we can tell from the next match at least.
Can I be honest? Like, I have tickets to Fight for the Fallen, and outside of that tag main event, I'm kind of on the fence about being like, I don't know, maybe I can get a couple $100 selling them. It doesn't seem like an, oh my god, I need to go to this show kind of show, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I can see that. And I mean, I'm not expecting amazing things, but maybe it can happen. But at the same time, I had more of an expectation for Fyter Fest than I do for Fight for the Fallen. And as you can tell, some of these things that happen on Fyter Fest didn't really wow me enough to make me think that, the next thing's going to be even better than that. Like, But I did like this, so at the very least, this 4-way match, this, you know what it almost felt like to me, now that I'm thinking about it? It almost felt like somebody else produced this match. Like, maybe like Dean Malenko did this one or something,
Well, I shouldn't have had different producers for different road agents arranging different parts of it. But I assume part of the reason why you want to work for AEW as opposed to WWE is the fact that they wouldn't be micromanaging these matches as much as the other. That was one of the big complaints that John Moxley had before leaving, is the fact that all the people were telling him how to wrestle his matches. So maybe it was just these guys saying, "No, we'll do this instead," and then they just run it by Malenko or whatever, and Malenko gives a bit of feedback and his own advice, and then they just go out and do what they do in a more collaborative way.
I don't know. It felt different to me than everything else on the card, and I liked that. Not that I'm gonna, I have to only like WWE stuff, because I don't, obviously. I mean, you listen to any of our post shows for the pay-per-views on WWE side of things, you know that that's not going to be the case, but this felt just like normal. And on a card where we had like the Librarian stuff and the Jabali and Nakazawa stuff and this 3-way with the women that I didn't really like and all that, I was like, you know what, this was a good refreshing breath of fresh air. Just to have 4 people that seem talented and various levels go out and just do a regular thing. I bought this as being more of a secondary alternative to WWE than I did most of the rest of the night. Maybe not necessarily the opening match, the 3-way tag team one. That one was great too, but I like the 4-way. So Paige comes out on top. Right call was made. And then we go into Cody Rhodes versus Darby Allin. I'm worried a lot about how this idea of Cody playing this babyface heel type thing is going to play out, because I think that he's a part of this whole executive VP type of thing, and he's just going to be default babyface for everybody who loves AEW, and that's going to hurt potentially anybody who's going to be in like a babyface type of position or just that whole like, we don't have baby faces and heels, we have just characters. And I don't know, I'm not really feeling that a whole lot, because midway through this match I started to think that he was supposed to be the heel and that he wasn't getting booed, and that threw me off. But then I was thinking at first that Darby Allin was supposed to be the heel because he's like this dark character, yet at the same time, as he has a body bag for this whole thing, they're talking about what a shame it is he had a car accident when he was 5, and I'm like, I'm all over the place here. Am I just watching two guys fight, or are you supposed to be feeling something, you know?
I want to harken back to something Callum said on the preview show. This promotion is the babyface. Therefore, nobody and nothing gets booed. Because they're the alternative, and it's awesome to have an alternative. So, yay, AEW.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the case with this one. I think the idea with Cody playing, it's obviously going to be a babyface because people just are thankful for him for creating AEW in many people's eyes. But they had to present him as, or he felt that he would have to be presented as a heel in this match because he's so much bigger than Darby Allin. And it's very hard to play the small guy as the heel.
Isn't that weird, Cody being the bigger guy? Like,
yeah, I know. It's like, it just goes to show what the independent circuit is like compared to WWE. Because in WWE, you have people like Lars Sullivan and Braun Strowman and even Cesaro, who's not even like in the same sort of ballpark as people like Strowman or Kane or The Undertaker and stuff like that, and yet he would be towering over pretty much everybody on the independent circuit.
And that's, of course, for anybody that's going to leave a comment below saying, like, we endorse the idea of, oh, that only has to be the big guys. We're not saying that either, because obviously WWE has had plenty of those big hulking monstrosities that can't move for shit. And they crapped all over Lars Sullivan and stuff even recently.
But it just means on the independent circuit, because of Cody's bigger size and build, then he has to play a more power-sized game than he would do if he was back in WWE.
Yeah. And I like this match enough. It felt a little bit just kind of, I don't know, going through the motions a little bit for me, but I liked it. I particularly liked that they did a time limit draw. Something a little bit different. We don't get to see that in WWE. Yeah. That's a good way to keep both of them looking strong. So I thumbs up when it came to that one for sure.
I enjoyed the focus on time limits in general. Every match outside of the non-sanctioned match had a time limit, and I think that was really important. And one of the only things that, as much as I did enjoy the show and AEW as a whole, they haven't stuck to their whole, well, we're sports oriented. That's one of the things that has, and I want to see more of that going forward.
Yeah, I'm happy with a match that ends in a time limit draw. I don't think that's too much of an issue, especially if they're trying to protect Darby Allin by basically having a situation where Cody was about to win the match, but Darby Allin survived 20 minutes with Cody. I think we need to pretty much backtrack to the beginning and at least say Brandy, because Brandy.
I was gonna have restraint and not say Brandy, but my God, that woman is so hot.
Yeah, he got pretty lucky. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, he did. Good Lord.
And the women of WWE are also very lucky that Brandy's no longer there, because they have a better chance of winning the Sexy Superstar tournament, which you can obviously check out the videos we've done on there, and you can, if you haven't voted already on round 2, you can do that on the Smark website.
Tony, I think we should call an audible and just throw her in there.
Oh, I don't want to give Alexa Bliss that much competition. That's a great plug for anybody who has not done that yet, because that is shutting off very, very soon, either on Sunday night or Monday morning or Monday afternoon, or whatever, something like that. It's not going to be like Wednesday afternoon and still on round 2. So we're already kind of working towards round 3. It seems like the polls are not going to switch around, but who knows? And you might be a part of the whole switch around for certain people, and if you do, I'll be pissed because I already went through and I already did all the prep work for round 3. But hey, whatever happens, happens. So go vote. You'll find it on the sidebar of smarkoutmoment.com. You'll find it on the homepage of smarkoutmoment.com, or if you click on the menu and you just click on Sexy Superstars Tournament or do a search or whatever the hell you want to do. I don't know, whatever your favorite thing is to get to certain parts of the site, but you'll find it. It's all over the place. Go vote while you can. Men's bracket and a women's bracket.
Speaking of doing the work, I had already written out 2 separate posts. In a shocking upset, Darby Allin beats Cody Rhodes, and Cody Rhodes beats Darby Allin, and to my dismay, none of those happened. So I had to write another post about a time limit draw. I was a little pissed off at how they didn't have Darby look like much of a fighter until the scrappy end of it, but ultimately I knew they were going to try to make him look like a star. I think at some point we're going to get a Darby Allin, Jimmy Havoc, like deathmatch kind of match, because they're both dark guys, and Havoc, like Moxley, is one of those hardcore guys, and Darby Allin, couple spots here. In the beginning, he gets thrown out through the post, and he goes through it and just lands hard on the floor, and that made me say, holy shit. And then that fucking cannonball, where he just lands back first on the apron.
Ooh.
Good
They called
Lord.
that the casket drop or the coffin drop or something like that.
Coffin drop, yeah.
Yeah, that's what the fuck he looked like he was going to.
I think we need to stop people, and Kofi Kingston does a move like this as well with the like the trust fall. We need people to stop diving onto people when they can't see where they're landing, because it's just a recipe for disaster.
Especially on the hardest part of the ring, though. Like,
Yeah.
Ow.
Oh, see, if we're talking the idea of unnecessary risks, we gotta address this. And this is why I didn't put this as a highlight on my Bleacher Report post. Cody Rhodes, after the match, he's standing in the ring, and Shawn Spears, Ty Dillinger, for those who know more from WWE, comes in, blasts him with a steel chair over the top of the head. There's a certain element that when I see, like, they do pile drivers in AEW, and I like pile drivers, so that's like, hey, cool, pile drivers. There is a part of me that says, oh man, I miss the chair shots to the head. And when something like that happens, I'm like, ooh, that's so cool and whatever. But pretty soon after that, there's always that part of me that goes, it's 2019. We are 10 plus years past the Chris Benoit stuff. We know more about this than ever. Why are we doing chair shots to the head? Unprotected chair shots, not even the hand up on top kind of thing. That I can make a little bit more of an excuse for because you're blocking it with your hand. This should not be happening. And worst off, they shouldn't be doing that and then acting like, and I'm going to echo Peyton's points, so anybody who followed how Peyton was talking in the Mega Maniacs, this idea that you can't start acting like, oh, we're going to do there should be some CTE scans and we should check this and we should have some medical staff that are really, like, you're really responsible if you're doing something that is the opposite of this progressive type of, WWE isn't doing enough, but we are. We're going to have, how did they constitute it before? Where they're talking about for people that need, like, the headphones and stuff. What was the phrasing that they had used?
Sensory inclusive.
Sensory inclusive. I was going to say all in, and then I was like, wait, that doesn't make any fucking sense. You're going to do stuff like that, and it's like, wow, you're, like, kind of going forward with the times, to then being like, chair shots to the head, perfectly okay. Not fucking safe. Not cool.
So, Cody starts pouring blood out the back of his head. And Excalibur says, oh, you just see a flap of skin fall off Cody's head. Now, I want to read you some tweets here from John Alba, who was in the media scrum after Fyter Fest. And one thing here says, the Young Bucks insinuate the chair shot Cody took was not unprotected and say it was his idea to take it. They said the chair was gimmicked, but that didn't work. Furthermore, Tony Khan says he can't go into details at the moment on the Cody chair shot, but they got the doctor right away. Something did go wrong. Quote, you can build the safest airplane in the world, But if there's a pilot error, there's a pilot error.
Oh, come on.
Let's just call it how it is, essentially. There is zero need to do this spot because you could just have Ty Dillinger walk out to the ring and hit Cody in the back with the steel chair and have the exact same effect. Because that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to build the idea that Ty Dillinger, or Sean Spears, should I say now, Sean Spears is going to be feuding with Cody going forward. That's all you have to do. And you can sell it like it's a big deal. The fact that it has to be a steel chair to the head is just overly gratuitous and calls back to a time when people were doing this on a nightly basis on the Attitude Era or in ECW or anything along those lines, and was leading to, well, in the very extremist case, the Chris Benoit situation. And I know that's built on more than just him taking chair shots to the head. It's repeated, like, abuse to the body and stuff along those lines. But we know that taking a steel chair to the head is going to, even if you hit it as weakly as you possibly can, could lead to a concussion. And it's the idea of, like, well, if you do any move badly or dangerously, you could seriously injure somebody. That's the risk that you take when you're wrestling. But you don't need to take them. Why try and put an extra risk in there that you don't need to put in?
Right. It just didn't sit well with me.
No, I will say it for like any promotion I see. Any promotion, New Japan have done this recently as well with certain matches and stuff like that. And no matter how I feel about a promotion in general, if I ever see a chair shot to the head, it makes me feel utterly disgusted. And I will say on these platforms anywhere else that chair shots to the head should be made permanently illegal, and anybody that does them is like they deserve anything they get out of it, essentially. Whether you're the person taking it or you're the person giving it, you obviously don't want to see it happen to them, but you're asking for it by having such a stupid risk like that.
And let's be clear about some other things too. I laugh at that superhuman video stuff. And every once in a while, I'll check out like a Botchamania and I'll watch some idiots throwing fucking light tubes at each other and whatever. I don't admire any of it.
No.
Outside of just the chair shot, what do you think about what is likely going to be Sean Spears and Cody Rhodes at All Out?
That I'm fine with.
Oh yeah, I'm fine with the actual match. I fear, again, this might be me thinking too much into it or just taking too much of a negative attitude towards it, but I fear that they're going to try and do with Sean Spears what, in a way, in their minds that they think WWE couldn't do. And they think higher a Sean Spears than maybe Sean Spears deserves in terms of his actual charisma and ability to be a main event draw.
That's what I was trying to get at. I want to go back to that nepotism line and specifically refer to something Cody Rhodes said at StarCast 2 when asked about Sean Spears. Openly said the words, "Guys, nepotism is how I got into this business, and I will always give my friends jobs." And I'm just like, all right, this is just Cody working with one of his buddies. And I'll say it, as good as the 10 gimmick was, and I got that it was over, I never thought Ty Dillinger was a major player. And I'm very skeptical about this. I think Cody could have a bigger match for All Out than this. And I'm not really feeling it.
I like Spears. And I thought that Dillinger didn't get as much credit as he should have. But again, I kind of agree. Like, he was not somebody that I was looking at as being some 5-time world champion headlining WrestleMania type. It was just more along the lines of like, well, you're not really giving the guy anything to work with. Let's give him something. Let's give him a chance at the United States title and see what works and put him in an interesting tag team and maybe that can get over really well. Like, they did kind of do him a little dirty, but at the same time, I don't think of him as being like, if Sean Spears is facing Kenny Omega a year and a half from now at their WrestleMania, I don't think I'm going to be like, whoa, guys, this has happened. It's a dream match, like that. I don't know. I do like it for All Out, though. Like that, I was wondering what they would do with Cody Rhodes, and now that they're going to do the Sean Spears thing, I'm assuming for that, then, like, hey, cool. Thumbs up on that one. Don't do any fucking chair shots to the head.
But this is kind of their WrestleMania, I think. And when you look at the roster and you consider, well, Cody can continue the feud with Darby, or Cody can, I don't know, get in the ring with MJF.
Any of those bigger matches than a match with Shawn Spears?
Maybe the MJF one.
Potentially MJF, but I think right now the MJF came out after the match to check on Cody.
That, again, I go back to the whole thing of, like, baby faces and heels. You have SCU and MJF coming out, and it's like they're playing baby faces a little bit here. And
specifically with MJF, they're doing a storyline on being the Elite, where Cody's like, I love this guy, he's the fucking salt of the earth. And every time Cody leaves the room, MJF is like, fucking idiot, So I think that's building towards them inevitably feuding. But I just feel like you could have gotten something else for Cody. But upon looking at their roster, unless you wanted to put him with Janela or something, maybe not.
Yeah, so I'm fine with the match happening. I just don't know how far they could actually go with Spears. And it'll be interesting to see, once he actually does get in the ring, how much of it is his own charisma and personality and how much of it was just the 10 gimmick.
Yeah. I'm up for trying, though. And that's positive for All Out. So as much as it's like, when it comes to the chair shot thing, it's like, that's cool. I like that. And then we had they made a big deal out of this. I thought this was kind of stupid a little bit. Where they were saying, oh, this is our official end of the night. It's our last match for the official card. Which was the Elite, the Young Bucks, and Kenny Omega against Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid. And one of my favorite parts of the night, the Young Bucks come out, and they're dressed up as Ken and Ryu from Street Fighter. And then Kenny Omega comes out, and he is Akuma, which then I thought to myself, I would have gone with Guile, or M. Bison, or Sagat, or Blanca, or, any of those. Akuma didn't register to me at first, and it wasn't until they said that I was like, oh yeah, right, yeah. I kind of remember that one a little bit. But then again, he's more into, the later games. I'm Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, more so than anything else. I liked that. I liked how they somehow played more into the video game thing than the fucking video game guy did. Because they did the Hadouken, triple Hadouken.
Alright, full disclosure, I thought that was so stupid, but...
It's stupid, but at least it was like, that's the type of thing that should have happened in the Jabali match.
I let it go because they followed it up with an immediate, triple powerbomb, and the rest of the match was so solid. But yeah, I thought the Hadouken was stupid.
Probably my favorite part of the whole thing, which I'm sure people would be like, that's your favorite big takeaway, is that they told Justin Roberts to say round 1 fight.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
I'm like, that meant more to me than the, I said use this word before, but hollow. The match itself, kind of hollow. It's just a bunch of moves. And some people absolutely love that. And this target audience in particular loves that. This is exactly what they wanted. To me, I can watch 5 of these things in a row and feel like I watched one match. Like, it's just not my go-to preference for a lot of different things. So I liked the gimmicky Street Fighter type stuff more than I liked the actual match. But I liked the match. I'm not gonna, this was one of the better matches of the night.
I think just going through from the top down, I think as part of the entrance, we also have to talk about Batista Fan.
I thought that was hysterical.
I thought that was terrible.
Yeah, I think that's really just going a little too far. I think if it wasn't so obvious that they were mocking the Batista Fan, then I'd be okay with just those two come out and then another guy comes out from behind and just pretending to be Kenny Omega and then he gets taken out by the real Kenny Omega. That would be cool. But then it's just obviously that this guy's trying to just get the shot in like that Fan did, like behind the scenes. It's just like it's a little bit cringeworthy. But
it was fine. I didn't get that he was Batista guy at first because
he was doing Batista's entrance.
I know, I got him on stage doing that, and then I'm like, but why? And my friend had to remind me, oh, you don't remember that somebody just randomly showed up on screen in front of Batista and did Batista's moves. I do agree with you. I think if they were going to do that, they should have done the Kenny Omega thing or Young Bucks thing. But the fan, say that in quotes, was taken out by Omega in the Akuma gear, and that was fine.
And the match itself, I have to agree with Tony. It's just it's a real spot fest, and for the audience that loves the Elite, that's the kind of match they wanted to see, and so that it delivered on that front. Not that the match was in any way bad. It's just a lot of like cool moves happened, and I don't remember any of them.
That's you hit the nail on the head on that one. That if I look back on certain matches from mostly WWF and WWE, because let's be honest, that's the thing I follow the most. If I look back on classic matches and classic moments, I remember the moments. And I don't think that you could watch 100 events that are like this and actually go like, you might say to yourself like, oh, that Elite and Lucha Bros and Laredo Kid match was so great. And then it'd be like, what part did you like? Well, out of the super kicks? Like, it's just, there's certain elements to certain things that I think it needs to sort of stand out, and nothing stood out.
Yeah, I think that's probably just the right way of putting it. I mean, I know what kind of happened in the match because I was taking a few notes, but basically I got to a point where I said, yeah, it's hard to take notes at this point because they're basically just doing moves constantly, and so I don't really want to just note down all of them, so I'm just going to watch it, and if I don't remember any of it, then I don't remember any of it. But yeah, it was just towards the end, you have Laredo Kid. I thought Laredo Kid was fine. It definitely wasn't Pac levels of what we were expecting, but for the role that he was meant to be playing, which was the guys be pinned by Omega, he did his job fine.
I think I've said this a lot, and I want to belabor this point every time they're in the ring, but their style plays so much better to a live audience. And when you're watching it through a screen, you can get that vibe of, it's really cool, but it's in one ear and out the other, and none of this is worth retaining. What stood out to me the most, just because, again, like with the JR stuff, I thought, that's funny when you have a cease and desist out there. Nick Jackson audibly said, suck it, like 3 or 4 times. And I just wonder why he felt so comfortable doing that when they already had the legal action out there.
Well, can they trademark the phrase suck it in a wrestling context? Or have they anyway?
I think they have.
I mean, it's hard to say that I don't think they really care too much. And go
ahead.
Well, it's just one of those things that if WWE was to do it, it just makes them look petty.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think if WWE at this point were to say something about something in particular like that, they would come off as the big company being a bully, and it's almost like, well, why do we care? We're so much above them.
Yeah, exactly. Should just be a leaf about it.
Yeah. Now, if they were to have somebody come out there and call themselves Batista and do that entrance, then they would be like, we got a fucking problem.
Yeah.
Because then you're not only just trying to piggyback off of anti-WWE, you're also trying to get the WWE audience by just saying, look, we are WWE. Kind of like when you see like those people dress up as like a fake Kane at some kind of local indie event, and you're like, yeah, this is not Kane. You should not be allowed to do this. You know what I mean? Yeah, so this was the quote-unquote end of the night.
All right, that's it. There's been another second.
Before we completely grab out on that, let's throw out a couple more plugs here. Patreon, it's something that you should be checking out, because if you have some spare change and want to help us out, that is the best way to be donating towards the cause of future episodes of future things and different projects and different things like that. So patreon.com/SmarkOutMoment, same thing for Fanboys Anonymous, as well as the merchandise that you can find on TeePublic and Redbubble for Smark Out Moment, Fanboys Anonymous, and a Mango tees. So monetary side of things, those are the two that you should really kind of keep in mind. But then, of course, we had one more match. And they did the whole spiel about, this is unsanctioned, this is not actually counting, it's not on the record books, and we're not liable, and all the other kind of things like that, which, admittedly, kind of fun. At the same time, a little bit over the top. Joey Janela against Jon Moxley. Fucking brutal match.
Violent.
Some people are like, we want tables. They're like, well, we got tables, we got chairs with barbed wire, we got barbed wire boards, we've got tacks, and we're just gonna kind of beat the shit out of each other because why not? And fuck that. Like, no way I would do any of that.
No, it's an incredibly violent and like brutal match in many different ways, and yet nothing scared me as much as the chair shot that Cody Rhodes took. So
Yeah.
That's just goes to show how bad the chair shot to the head thing is, really. But these guys took most of their stuff on the back or on the arm or on anything along those lines. Moxley did get cut above his eye early on, but nothing too serious, at least in the face or head area. Everywhere else, I'm pretty sure, is really painful for both of those guys right now.
He took off his shoes and dropped them barefoot onto thumbtacks. This match, it reminded me. I love that like early 2000s Mick Foley style hardcore match, and this match very much had those elements, and it reminded me of how much I love hardcore style matches. And God, this was profane. You could audibly hear the word fuck like 3 times.
Yeah, the fans are chanting "you sick fuck" multiple times.
Jon Moxley called Joey Janela a dumb motherfucker, and right at the end of it, as he's sitting in the thumbtacks, Janela flips him off and goes, "Come on, motherfucker!" And it's just like, Jesus. And they really drove home the "we're not PG" vibe, which is smart. Again, don't do any more chair shots to the head, but you can't say that they didn't deliver on being the alternative.
I like that when in his entrance, Moxley kisses the camera as he comes out. Because basically his gimmick right now is, I'm so happy I'm no longer in WWE. That's basically what he is right now. He's just like free and exciting again. He feels more vibrant. He definitely looked in great shape during this match. I think it was Janela was definitely taking the brunt of the punishment, but Moxley was certainly taking his fair share with landing on the barbed wire board and taking that chair wrapped in barbed wire to the back a couple of times. Definitely wasn't that good, but then you have Janela going through another barbed wire board on the outside. He does that elbow drop off the top rope through the table to the floor. Then he's the one who takes the brunt of the thumbtack spots as well. I like the fact that Ambrose is now using the X-Plex as well. It's a good move to use if you can do it.
Yeah. What do you think? And this is mostly a question for Callum, because Tony, you don't really watch Japan. What do you think about him having a different name for the move in AEW versus in New Japan?
What do you mean?
In New Japan, the high angle DDT is called the Death Rider, and in AEW, it's called the Paradigm Shift.
I think it's just based around what they want each character to be. Because I think Mox.
Also, I just want to jump in there and say his ring gear too. Like, he's not wearing the trunks. He's wearing something more similar to
the Ambrose side of things.
Yeah.
Well, I felt that the reason why he was wearing jeans in this match was, first of all, it was unsanctioned, and second of all, he was going to take several spots into thumbtacks and barbed wire. So he wanted to protect his legs as much as he possibly could.
Yeah.
It's true.
So that's kind of where I'm starting. We'll see more when Moxley has a traditional match, presumably. Obviously, his next match will be against Kenny Omega in All Out on the AEW side of things, because of he won't be available throughout the time that he's in G1. So we'll see at that point in time whether whether there's a disconnect between both sides of things. But if there is, then good for him for having different characters, different promotions that he's working for, or at least slightly different. You have to think that, like, obviously he's still a crazy son of a bitch with the idea of doing the paradigm shift DDT onto thumbtacks, knowing that full well that you're about to land into thumbtacks as well. Just, yeah, only Moxley and Janela would think about doing that sort of stuff. But it was a very different match. I gotta say, like, it was especially great because, again, it's similar to the previous match in that it's a lot of spots, but it's spots through weapons this time as opposed to just in the ring. But this would leave a lot more of a lasting impression because a lot of the spots were absolutely insane.
Very violent.
Yeah, I mean, I like this. It's a different type of style than some other things, and it was a good way to end the night. And they officially capped things off with Kenny Omega attacking him, just to kind of push that a little bit further, which I like that too, because why wouldn't Omega want to get some kind of revenge?
Thought it was very good. I thought it gave Omega an edge that he hasn't had for a while. And they clearly felt the need to do this because outside of any vignettes, this is the last chance they're going to get to build for All Out. I think that might be the first time since he's left Japan that Omega has the shot at a match of the night contender. He's gotten very far away from the best bout machine, and I think the American audience is likely ready for Kenny Omega, the best wrestler in the world.
Yeah, I think that the attack towards the end was, like Rob says, like showing a more vicious streak to Omega's character. I like the he pile drived it, like pile driven him, should I say, onto just
Pile
like the
drive?
remains of the table. Yeah, just like the table's already broken apart, so he just lifted part of it up a little bit and just drove him through that side of things, and then did the stomps through it as well. Hitting that shot by the electric guitar didn't look like it was very fun to take. That wasn't a gimmick guitar by any stretch of the imagination.
I was just gonna say Tony Khan's gonna be like, well, we gimmicked the guitar, but something went wrong, and you can only judge the guitar based off of the guitarist.
It's something worse knowing that that's the same back that has gotten like thumbtack marks left in it and barbed wire like strikes through it as well. It's just like, and then you just get the guitar to it as well. I don't think like Renee will be too fond about sleeping next to that for a couple of nights anyway.
Yeah, poor Renee.
But yeah, it was a good way to just assert that Omega is still going to be a force to be reckoned with in this one. They gave Moxley the first shot because it was his first night. Now they gave Omega a shot back because they're going to have a big match at All Out. Yeah, it's the right way to build towards it.
And that's it. That's Fyter Fest. So make sure you are dropping your comments below, telling us what you think about not only what you think, but what we think, and all the stuff that we broke down here.
All I got was a cheese sandwich. What the fuck?
Again, if you subscribe to us on YouTube or Facebook or Twitter or elsewhere, you will be aware of the next things that are going to be happening. And we have so many things coming up because we just, what the hell, you know? The next.
Hold on, not to put one of the WrestleZone boys on blast, but just because of the things we had to say for the women's match. Dominic D'Angelo of WrestleZone says, I'd argue that Nyla Rose versus Riho versus Yuka Sakazaki was one of the matches of the night and women's match of the year, in my opinion.
I'd argue against that.
Yeah, I'd pretty strongly argue against that one. I can't wait to read the comment section of that post afterwards.
I'm sure it's 50-50, you know, the way that things are. But
it had a "This is awesome" chant. Like, what other women's matches had a "This is awesome" chant?
All of them. It's 2019.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know when we're going to do this necessarily, so I don't want to put it out there saying, oh, it's happening tomorrow and it's going to be up. There's a possibility that tomorrow is when we do the mailbag, but at some point we are doing the mailbag. We are also doing round 3 of the Sexy Superstars tournament, so the quarterfinals will be broken down. We are going to get into the G1 Climax. We are going to review all the hot tags of the week, all the other kind of things that go along with stuff like that. So there is plenty coming your way. Week after that is going to be another one of these things where it's like, what the hell do we do? We're going to have AEW's Fight for the Fallen. We're going to have this Evolve 131 show and Extreme Rules all happening over the course of 2 days, as well as round 4 semifinals of the tournament and the hot tags. So that week's going to be crazy. Then we're going to hopefully, have a little bit of a break on the week after that, around the mid-range of July, to just kind of have the round 5 finals and kind of a question mark. Maybe not even necessarily do anything that week because we would just be so burned out. I don't know. But that stuff is coming your way. So mailbag is probably next, maybe after the hot tags, one of those two. Then we're getting into the tournament. Then we're getting the G1 climax and then all the other kind of pay-per-view stuff. So stay tuned for all that coming your way on the Smark Out Moment YouTube channel and smarkoutmoment.com. Other things on smarkoutmoment.com on the article side of things are always happening, so check those out while you can. And just stay tuned in general. My plugs are pretty much all over, but I'm going to pass this over to these two gentlemen because they have some other things they want to tell you about. Callum?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Wigmeister14. As Tony says, the weekly articles you can check out, in particular the Power Rankings, which is the one that I contribute. And then 2001 Wrestling Odyssey I've already mentioned, but the June edition is now live on the YouTube and all the other platforms that we're on. And then if you check that one out, but you haven't checked out the previous ones that we've done, like traveling back in time and seeing what life was like back in 2001, we've got episodes for January, February, March, April, May, now June, and also a special on WrestleMania X7. So check all those out. Rob?
So I've got to have the record for most consecutive days recording podcasts for Smark Out Moment, because if we do the mailbag tomorrow, that means I've done the whole week. And in that case, outside of Smark Out Moment, I'm also on the WrestleZone Daily podcast, which you can check out over on their Facebook page at WrestleZone.com or on iTunes and Stitcher and all those other podcast platforms. Search WrestleZone Radio, and you can hear more of what I think about the world of professional wrestling. Outside of that, you can go to eWrestlingNews.com and hear more of what I think about the world of professional wrestling. And if you just want to support me monetarily, go to TimekillerApparel.com.
All right, everybody, that is enough talk. We will see you next time, everybody. But for now, this has been another Smark Out Moment, and we're being counted out.